Refugees evacuated from Afghanistan left their lives behind for an uncertain future. But as CBS's Haley Ott reports, some nations are not putting out the welcome mat.
As desperate Afghans tried to escape the Taliban, world leaders pledged millions of dollars in aid for resettlement. But in Europe, some said they wanted to focus on helping people in and around Afghanistan, not in their own backyards. That's because many European nations don't want more asylum seekers to try to reach their shores, according to Zoe Gardner.
There has been a sustained move to the demonization and denial of refugee protection across Europe over the past decade, and in particular since 2015.
6 years ago, over 1 million people made their way to Europe, many fleeing the brutal civil war in Syria. Their arrival caused political crises across the continent. Since then, European governments have fortified borders and made it more difficult for people to travel using so-called irregular routes, in small boats, on foot, or in the backs of trucks. And some, like Denmark and the UK, have written laws making it harder for those that do get to Europe irregularly to get refugee status and begin building new lives.
There's a bill actually before Parliament right now that is seeking to criminalize those people. It's not a trade-off between resettlement and welcoming the refugees who actually make it here. You need to do both.
How realistic is it to expect somebody to, when they feel like they're in imminent danger, not just pack a bag and run?
Well, what would you do if you had been, for example, I don't know, involved in the local government in your area, and your 2 daughters had been going to school, and the Taliban are going door to door and executing people? And the realistic answer is that a lot of people will have to run.
Gulwali Pasirleh ran from Afghanistan in 2006 when he was 12, eventually becoming a refugee in Britain.
I mean, I wish I didn't have to make the journey, and I don't want other Afghans making it, but I understand why they're making these desperate journeys and risking their lives. And the European response is quite shameful and shocking. They have been focusing on getting their own people out. It just shows you the value of Afghans to them.
The vast majority of Afghans who don't qualify for a resettlement program will most likely stay in the region. But for those who continue their journeys to Europe, an uncertain welcome awaits. Haley Ott, CBS News, London.